All right.
Okay.
So thanks, Regina, for joining us today. We're excited to interview you. And John's going to really be taking the lead on this interview since he's done all the wonderful research and has some questions ready for you.
Okay. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Nice to connect with you all.
Great. We're here with Regina Bonelli today as part of the North Jersey Blues Society interview series. And I just want to let everybody know that Regina is going to be playing at the Lizzie Rose Music Room on November 18th at 7:30 p.m. Tuckerton, New Jersey, which is right outside of Atlantic City. And tickets are on sale now at $25 advance, and you can also get them at the door the night of the show. So that's November 18th at 7:30 at the Lizzie Rose, which is a great venue. I know a lot of people are playing down there now, and I know a lot more to come because I saw the schedule for 2023. So it's amazing. And she'll also be doing the North Jersey Blues Society Christmas holiday party for us December 4th, which is going to be held at the Whiskey and Virtue on John Street in Morristown, New Jersey. So we're glad to have Regina on board as part of the North Jersey Blues Society. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
We're excited.
No, it's
Me
exciting.
too. Me too. Me too. Definitely. Especially after all this break, because of the pandemic and whatever else. I know for myself, I'm just starting to get back up and running. So, and it's really nice to do it with some local people that I appreciate, all you do for the music. So
We appreciate your support as well. Thank you.
mhm.
Christy, you have a few questions before we go? You want to ask her?
My questions were really, I just had a, well, we can ask them now, sure. So as a woman in the blues music, that must have been hard.
Oh yeah, well, yeah. I mean, it is because if you look at if you look at bills, show bills and everything, it's not. If you get one or two women on the thing,
Sure.
it's a lot, which is ironic, right? Because the blues all started. I mean, it started, with African American songs
Right.
and fields and stuff. That I always want to make sure that I acknowledge that, because that's what it is really. But popular blues started in the 20s, and those were all female singers, Bessie Smith and everything like that. But the world is the world, and being I'm sure Christy, it's like being a woman. It's funny because it opens doors in certain
Mhm.
respects, and then once you get in there, you feel the difference, and you gotta. It's very easy to not stand your ground. I don't know, especially for me, from my generation. So I don't know what my kids. My daughter. I have a daughter. She's 25. She just turned 25, and they don't seem to be as
No, I agree.
affected by it. It's just like but for us, so for me anyway, so it's but as I say, I just be myself. You know what I mean? I like to always say that a musician is a musician. Like not people will say, oh, a female musician. Well, where they don't say, oh, a male musician. Like no one says, the male blues singer, Eric Dales, right? No,
Right.
It's like the female blues singer. No, I'm a musician first and foremost. It may be a very small thing in the blues, but it's payola. So whatever. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
So it's
It's
just
fine.
circling back to the whole women in the music industry. Any advice you want to give to future women who are considering going into the blues musician area and
Just like I
learnings?
said, just be yourself. Be up on your music, up on your writing. First and foremost, the product is really what's important to me. The show you put on, the product. That's what we're artists, so we're expressing ourselves. We hope to connect with people when we express ourselves. And just I would give the same advice to a woman that I would to a man. Don't take any crap, from
Yeah.
anybody, and just be top level, and then if you are like that, then
You'll succeed.
there's nothing they can do. And if they got to go that way, then that's on them. It's a huge world out there. you know,
Yeah.
if people are caught up, I saw something, oh my God, there's like all this stuff about the blues and all this stuff. So, but I saw some guy say something about a female artist, and she wears short skirts and da. But the thing is, first of all, you wouldn't, like we were saying before, they wouldn't say, this guy comes out and he wears tight pants. Like, who would even say that? And who gives a crap,
Right.
And to me, I always feel like that's got nothing to do with the price of
Right.
Exactly.
I think we may have, okay.
Because I get the same thing when I'm like Eliza Neal's. She's taking a lot of crap.
Wait,
She posted up on
yeah.
Facebook.
I mean, if the person's great, listen.
I know people that are taking a lot of heat for stupid stuff, and it just, I don't see the same thing with the males end of
Yeah.
it getting that. I just see it with them. I see the same thing from a lot of people that I know, like yourself, and I just find it kind of ridiculous and strange. It doesn't go left; it only goes one way.
all right.
Yeah.
So.
Well, those are my questions. Thanks. Didn't mean to open up a hornet's nest.
No, it's true though, because I go, when I do the CD reviews, I look at a lot of stuff. I read a lot of stuff, and to get some background on people, and I read interviews and things. I just don't, listen to the CD because I want people to know who the artist is and get some background on the people so they can go delve into their music deeper than than one CD or whatever it is. And I always find odd things, So and I know there's a lot of people that they get that, and they get that heat, and I don't understand where that comes from. So
Yeah. Well, it don't bother me.
no, I know it doesn't. I know.
I mean, it does, but it's especially at this point, I'm this album, and all my albums, but I'm very proud of the music on this album.
It's great.
Just in general, thank you. So and I'm critical of myself just as a person, we all are probably, but artists tend to be like, and this time,
Oh, it's going really well. I mean, I'm looking at #1 soul blues album and singles, Roots Music Report. Top 10 soul blues album of the year, 2020, Roots Music Report. Top 25 album, Living Blues Report, 2022. Top 25 album, IBVA French and Australian charts. Top 15 album, Sirius XM Rock Blues. It just goes on and on. The critics are loving it as well as the fans. And it's not only here, it's worldwide. So it's congratulations. It's a great achievement.
Thank you.
Doing really well. Yeah.
And that's without a machine. That's why I feel good to be connecting with you guys, because I've been a very independent, my label is independent and I'm independent artist all my life. I've never got in the schmooze, and this album, I feel if it does that well, and I don't have a big machine behind me, money, because people pay for stuff. Yeah. So that I feel proud of that. And I'm glad to be hooking up with some people who seem to be great people. So, just have a little network going on.
Yeah.
Well, the new CD, it says, I was looking, it says, I got to go on the new release. It seems to speak a great deal about the pandemic and how it affected you. Can you talk about how you got through the pandemic and what it meant to put that song together? Because I know how rough it was for the music industry and for musicians in general during the pandemic, because I worked with Can't Stop the Blues, and I know what was going on throughout the years that we were all, hunkered down. So.
Yeah. Well, I was definitely hunkered down. I mean, I would say during that time, I didn't go anywhere. I mean, with the exception of, we had our little bubble, and of me and my producer, my engineer, and the guys from the band. And so, we recorded. I was around them, and we were only around each other. It was besides their, significance if they had, So we stayed safe that way. No one got sick. But so other than that, we did a lot of, now things digital, so we sent tracks back and forth. If I went in, if they went in, recorded, they record they're top notch. So the rhythm section go in and just record the track. There it is. Send it to me. Let me. So that's how we did that. I'm sure that's how most people did it. They didn't really weren't hanging out. Nobody was really.
Nobody was going anywhere.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's a very different creative process too.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, especially with this type of music, but I don't really consider my stuff like, I mean, obviously it's not straight up blues, it's not straight ahead blues. It's blues, soul blues, a little bit of rock in there, it's a hybrid. I feel like it's my, my thing. So you can do different studio things with that, as opposed to if you're going to do like a real traditional blues recording, then it's everybody in the studio, recording like that live, so. But yeah, I mean, we stayed to ourselves, and that's how we did it. And it kept the sanity because you weren't doing anything else. I mean, thank God we were doing the record, because we started before. We had a track or two going before the whole thing happened, and then we stepped back for a minute, and then we were like, you know what, we're all good. Let's just go do this. We'd had, like I said, the guys knock it out. And,
Oh, it's an incredible release.
thank you.
On you take on the Almonds, My Cross to Bear, and you get it's igniting a lot of excitement from the critics and the fans. And I listened to it on YouTube, and I listened to it here on my laptop. And Michael Hampton from Parliament Funkadelic is all over that. I mean, his guitar work is amazing. How did you hook up with Michael, and how did that all come about to get him on that record?
Michael's part of the True Groove family, the label. He and Tomas, who's my guitar player, writing partner, and producer, they've known each other for many years, so they've worked together before. So he was like, Tomas was like, we'll get Mike Hampton on it. And I had met Mike. Mike actually played with me. We did a festival in Pennsylvania a couple of years ago, and Mike lives, he's in Jersey, I think. Yeah. So and he was in Pennsylvania, or close to Pennsylvania. So he came, and I was like stunned, like, oh my God, Michael Hampton's gonna play on my gig. It was like, he's a legend. He really is. He's a legend.
The guitar work on
rock
that
and
track
roll.
is amazing. Yeah.
Oh, and yeah, I'll tell you something. So then when Tomas was like, let's get Mike on the track, I was like, okay. So Michael is, for all his, accolades and what he's done, all this, because he started playing with them when he was like 17. So he's been, doing that thing for many, many years. He comes in, he's a mellow dude. You think George Clinton with all so I don't know what they were doing back then, but he's super humble, super mellow. He comes into the studio, he plugs in, he says, I don't know, maybe you should get a blues, he's smiling, but maybe you all should have got a blues guy to do this. And Tomas is like, Mike, just play, that's one pass. No, nothing, not a second pass he didn't take, no punching in. He just sat there. He's otherworldly, really. They started the track, and that's it. He played through it, and that was it.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Well, the whole album is like very guitar oriented. There's a lot of great guitar work on it. Did you plan it that way, or is that just the way it worked out?
Yeah, no, we planned it that way. The album before, which also did very well, Love Letter, was less like that. It was a little more horn oriented, a little more soul. He had I Got to Go, which kind of took on a heavier. So we were like, let's get a little bit more guitar. So that was a thought as to how to work it. And so Tomas plays great guitar on it. I mean, he's killing. James also, who's the producer, he played guitar on it. He's actually soloing on I Got to Go. That's James Della Tacoma. Tomas Donker, they're both doing their little things in there. And then we got Mike in there. So yeah, I think this album's got a little bit more of a harder edge, and that's what
seems like that. It's like a guitar player's guitar album with you and everybody. It's a great mix. I mean, the mix it's amazing from start to finish. I've heard most of the tracks, and it's really it really is a great piece of work.
Thank you.
Very proud of it. How did you pick on how did you pick on the track you did Howlin' Wolf's Killing Floor? How did you pick that as a cover? Because it's
Well,
outstanding
Tomas,
cover of that, by the way. It really is good.
thank you, thank you. Tomas had, he has his own albums too that does for years. So he had covered that. That was his idea, that treatment, that arrangement of that song. And so then, I always like to, if I'm going to cover something, I like covering male songs, as a female. I think that's interesting. And also I think it's interesting if a guy covers a female song, it just gives it another. So then he was like, well, then what about, Killing Floor, but the way that I have done it. So I was like, yeah, let's do it. And then it just got a life of its own like that, so that's how that happens.
You made it your own. It's definitely yours. I mean, I'm sure the wolf is smiling right now because you just made it your own. You just blow it out of the water. It's a great version of it. It is. It's really good. Yeah. All right, I got some other questions.
All right.
As far as the pandemic goes, what moving forward, since we're in post-pandemic now, how do you see the music business and yourself moving forward, trying to get out from underneath this? I asked this because I asked Veronica Lewis the same question. I asked Shamika the same question. We all knew what was going on before, but moving forward now, is there more? It seems to be a lack of venues and a lack of spaces to play. And with the record companies, most people are doing their own thing, it seems, these days. And then you've got to sell records, you've got to get to shows, you got to find shows. How hard is it? Is it harder now in post-pandemic than it was before? It seems to be. I don't know.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's harder. I'll tell you honestly, I think it's been hard for years before the pandemic. I think the advent of the streaming and all that, can't sell records. I mean, unless you're, Beyonce, and then, the big names are selling records, and, but the rest of us are, or even if you're, doing well and your stuff is good. So, I think obviously the pandemic, a lot of places closed, but I see it's opening up again. There are places around that are starting to, people want to get out, so there's that.
Yeah.
It's hard, it's a different time, man. It's just a different time. The young people, I mean, I don't know, they go see live shows, but it's different than let's say 15, 20 years ago. So that's before the pandemic, a lot of, I mean, this year, a lot of festivals I've said, we're not doing it this year. We can't afford to do it. I just think everything, not only music, everything is different. And I don't think it's going back. I think we're, just to use an example, the gas prices are not going to go back. I don't think that it's ever going to turn. I was thinking that the other day. I was at the, and I mean, I blame it on greed. I mean, that's my Mr. Big Man is about that. My song. I was
going to ask you about that too. Go ahead.
There's this top, 1% who control everything, in my opinion. Not to get into, but I don't think it's this or it's that. It's that. That's who's pulling the strings, and the rest of us all, fight with each other, and it's been like that since the beginning of time. So I think that, and when you read, like, the companies have benefited greatly during the pandemic. They're not hurting. I just read somewhere there was somebody who made billions of dollars in profits.
Yeah, the other companies are raking in billions of dollars of profits. And they're blaming it on the Ukraine situation. It was ridiculous because they have to have somebody as a scapegoat, and they're using that, but they're still raking in billions of dollars worth of profit from something.
Right. So if you can't, I mean, without getting, deep on that, but if somebody can't see that or doesn't want to see that, then that's another conversation. But I think that, and even as far as the music goes, things have moved in a certain way because of this pandemic. I think we're getting back to doing a bit like a normalcy, but I don't think it's ever going to go back. So as far as the future, man, I don't know. I don't even, I write music. I play music. This is what I do. This is what I've done
Yeah.
since I'm 16 years old. And I'm going to keep doing it. And I think, music is a universal thing. Every culture, every person reacts to it. It'll never go away. Will we make, it's harder to make a living at it? Yes. But like a friend of mine, I don't know if you remember the guy named Bill Sims, but he said to me one time, he's a local musician, a great musician. And he passed away not too long ago.
Yeah.
And right. And Bill's so cool. One day he said to me, he says, there's a lot of good, because I said something, we were talking about the music, because it's so easy to make records now, right? Everybody does it on their own. And so you get a lot of, in my opinion, very mediocre stuff. And, if you have the right things, there's a lot of mediocre stuff out there. It's not bad, but it's not. And then he said to me, oh yeah, there's a lot of good music. It's not a lot of great music. And that's true. And so if you make great music, I believe that you'll be able to exist as a musician.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I only ask because I'm getting a lot of messages from people that want to come out to the East Coast that never played the East Coast or haven't played in a while. And they're asking for venues. And I have the list, I have a list of venues from the local paper. I've been sending out to people by mail. And it seems a lot more people want to get back on the road. It just seems to be a lack of venues. And the venues that there are, everybody seems to competing for those venues. But it's nice to see people wanting to get back out there, and they're getting back out there.
Yeah.
It makes
For
me
sure.
feel good because I'm getting a lot of messages. I have mail that has to go out today to people out on the West Coast. They're asking about venues here in New Jersey, and I'm sending it to them. And it makes me feel good that the people are trying to get out,
Yep.
Like Hector Richondo sent me a message the other day. John, I hope that we see you in 2023 in New Jersey because he wants to come east. Dirty Cello.
Yeah, I'd love to go west. So,
I know, but I mean, I'm like, it's nice to see everybody getting out.
yes.
Trying to get out from underneath all what we had for 2 or 3 years, getting out from underneath it, trying to get out there and make, do something somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's nice to have everybody back on the road again.
For sure. For sure.
I got a question. When you were 18 years old, you were singing at the Bitter End in New York.
Yep.
And a woman came up to you and gave you some advice. You didn't know who she was at the time, but later you found out that the woman was a dead as a folk singer.
Right.
And I just wondering how this chance encounter affected you as a performer. I mean, you didn't know who she was at the time, but then later you found out. How did that affect you?
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, that was like, I would say that was like my first. I had played. I mean, I was playing since I was a little kid, right? And then I started playing guitar and writing when I was around 16. And then I started playing. I think I played in like a church thing or something. But that was like my first professional gig. I think I was 17. I think I was 17, but I said I was 18 because they were serving alcohol. And I was me with a guitar because for a while like I said, I learned piano from a young age. And then around 12, 13, I started playing guitar. And so when I first ventured out to sing live, it was just me and the guitar. And so I was alone. So I was sitting there and I'm playing, and it's people are drinking. It's a bar there, and
I know the Bitter End very well. I've been there.
it was starting to get noisy, right? So it was that. Yeah. So she must have seen me getting a little, flustered or upset, So she comes up very quiet. She goes to me. I know. She said, it's people are talking a little bit over there, but she pointed to the bar. She said, but I hear you. Just keep going. I hear you. And I was like, okay. And it made me feel, you're asking me that like as for the future. It just really like was right then and there. You have to be yourself. It also made me realize it takes years, to hone your performance. I mean, you're a musician, you're writing, you're expressing yourself, blah, blah, blah. But if you're getting up there and you're getting paid, you got to put on a show too, because that's what your job is. I mean, I don't call it a job, but I mean, I always feel when I'm up there, I'm giving that out to the audience and they give back to me. And, so, I mean, I'm always playing from the heart. I never phone it in. Be honest, I don't, and I know a lot of people feel the same way. So, but yeah, it just made me realize, it gave me a boost of confidence, which is, it's hard to do when you're pouring your heart out, in front of people.
Yeah. You play with the Temptations. That's true?
Yes, yeah, of course it's true. Of
Yeah.
course it's true.
I thought that was very, when I read that, I said, wow, she played with the Temptations. I said, I don't know what version of the Temptations.
It was not the original version,
No,
but
but
it
it's,
was,
but
they
it's the
were original
Temptations
members.
though.
Yeah. Well, I was like 21, 22, and I joined a 4-woman a cappella band, but we didn't do 50s doo-wop. It was Motown. It was soul, 60s and 70s music, and it was a musical director and a manager that I met through somebody else, and they had this vision that they wanted to do a cappella, but that stuff. So it was 4 girls. I mean, we were like 18, 20. Nobody was over 21, right? So something like that, 21, 22, after we played for years, a couple of years together. And so we used to dress up. I auditioned. It was like a thing. I auditioned for the thing, got the gig. And then, and we were all, we were called schoolgirls. So we were all, I'm little, I'm small, like, 5'3", right? So I'm short, I'm not little. But so we were all little that time, really little. And so we looked like younger even than we were. And we would dress first. We had one outfit. It was like the Supremes look, Then we have another outfit. It was the go-go boots and the little mini skirts. It was like a 60s thing. And the person who did the musical direction and the arrangements, man, if I could find some of that stuff, we were killer. We would like, we would do like Tracks of My Tears, a cappella with the 4 girls, with somebody singing lead.
Yeah.
And then, so anyway, we wound up doing a lot of opening acts for those bands because we were 4 mics. The sound guys were like, this is perfect. There's no setup. There's no instrument setup. You put out 4 mics, let these girls come out and sing. We were on Don K. Reed Doo-Wop Shop. We auditioned for Lorne Michaels. We were supposed to get on there. I don't know why that didn't happen, but I sat in the room with him and he was like, so one of the gigs was opening up for the Temptations. We opened up for the Temptations. We opened up for Martha Reeves and the Vandellas. She was like, we opened up for Chubby Checker, Ronnie Spector, all those acts that were making their comebacks, or whatever. So it was awesome.
Must have been a lot of fun.
Oh, it was fucking.
I can't imagine. It must have been great fun.
It was great. It was great, especially being young.
Not only to sing there, but to meet them and to talk to them and get, I guess you got to talk to them and get some feedback from them, and that's really interesting. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and we were babies, so we were like they were like taking care of us and and all that stuff,
I got a quote. When you played the record "Truth Hurts" for your son, he told you, "Mom, you're this really dynamic performer, and this record really captures that spirit." How did that make you feel?
Oh, it was like the best thing I could ever hear, so it's my kids. And my children are very musically talented in their own rights.
Yeah.
So to hear that, and it just what it made me feel like, coming from my kid, it was great. But also that's like something I've found elusive. Like sometimes, because I hopefully you'll enjoy my show, and like I really kind of, I'm into putting it out there, and it's hard to capture that unless you're doing a live recording. It's hard to capture that. There's a lot of artists that you see them live and you're like, wow, that's great, and then you listen, especially blues, and you listen to a recording and you're like, it kind of tampers everything down. Not necessarily your performance, but the whole recording process. So I feel like these guys, my producers and the musicians, the way they produced it, the way we did it, the way we all did our performances, it came through. So for me to hear somebody get that off of recording it's phenomenal.
That's
And for it to be my child.
That's your son. It's coming from your son. That's
Yeah,
pretty, that's extraordinary in itself. Yeah.
Yep.
How much influence did your father play in your music with your career? Because I mean, Truth Hurts is really impressive because it's all over. There's so many styles there, so many different influences there. It's all pulled together very, very well. And I know your father gave you your first guitar. I just wonder how much influence he had on your career musically.
Well, he had a lot of influence on, he passed away when I was like, I think I just turned 16. So he didn't really even see me out there, performing.
Yeah.
But he's the one that, he played many instruments. He wasn't a professional musician, but he was professional caliber. I mean, he was a natural, right, as they say. So he played guitar, he played piano, played the accordion, I mean, so we always had music around, and he was always playing the guitar. And they're the ones that's, my parents were like, yeah, I think I picked out some tune on the piano when I was like 4. And they were like, okay, piano lessons. And so he's the one that really, and my mother, she wasn't a musician, but she was a music lover and always very supportive. So even at an early age, even though he passed away when I was young, and my mom passed away when I was a little bit older, but she's gone too. But he just always, I didn't want, I think I got to a point where I didn't want to practice anymore, so piano. I used to take lessons, classical piano. And I was like 11, 12. I was like, eh. So they were like, you can't force, I mean, I've taught piano, so you can't force somebody to do it. But he was like, well, I was like, I want to play guitar. So then we he got me into the guitar, and he showed me some stuff, and I did some stuff on the TV. There was a guitar teacher, so I used to do that. And then he bought me that guitar. That was right before he passed away.
Yeah, I read that right before he passed away. Yeah.
Yeah, we went out to Martin, out in Pennsylvania, to the factory, and so he was very supportive and in sending me in that direction. And probably I would say because I lost him, I guess that maybe made it even more meaningful that I do this,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. You've talked to many musicians. It's like we do it because we want to do it. Because like you said, we're not making a whole lot of,
You really have to, you have to love it because you're not making a fortune doing it. And in some cases, you're barely making a living doing it. So it has to come from you have to want to do it. It has to come from your heart. There has to be something special about you to want to go through this, to do this.
Yeah.
It
You
has
have to, I feel like I have to do it. Not even I have to. This is what I do. That's what I always say. This is who I am. This is what I do,
Well, Thomas Donker, is that how you say it?
Thomas, he says.
Thomas. Yeah, Thomas. And you're on True Groove Records. He's your label head, your producer, and your writing partner. You've also written with Michael Hill from Michael Hill's Blues Mob.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So these relationships must mean a great deal to you musically and personally. Because
I
mean, it seems like even with your band, you're very tight with everybody. It comes across on the record as well.
Well, that's great to hear. Yeah. I mean, it's like family, it's like family, and we have, it's a lot of joy, it's a lot of work, we don't fool around when we're making, I'm not that, I mean, we're laughing all the time. I mean, but we're seriously trying to make great records,
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we all vibe, and
Yeah, you could feel it. Truth Hurts, you could feel it. I have a lot of music here at home, and believe me, I can. It goes from one extreme to the other, but on this one, you can really feel that there's a camaraderie and a relationship there. It builds as the record moves on. It's good. It's very good. It comes through. Yeah. Well, you describe Truth Hurts as a collection of guitar-driven songs with a few tracks of sweetness thrown in for balance, a soulful blues rock collection. I just want to know, what was it like making this project? And everybody, like I said, everybody seems to be having such a good time. And I know it wasn't easy pulling together because you did it the way you did it, but you must be proud of what came out of it, because the critics and the fans alike are going crazy over it.
Mhm, mhm. So, and yeah, I'm sorry, what your question was?
No, I just want to know what it was like making the record, because the way you describe it, it's a guitar-driven songs with a few tracks of sweetness thrown in for balance. It's a soulful blues rock collection, and we know, that comes from through. I just wondered what it was like making the record and pulling it all together. I mean,
Oh, man,
it seems
it's
like it
my
was a lot of
favorite place
fun.
to
It was a
be.
lot of work, but it was a lot of fun
Yeah.
at the same time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's my favorite place to be, is in the studio, really, and on stage. I mean, really, is, aside from my family, that's number one. But it's just it was great. It's great. The musicians are so awesome, and they're awesome in talent, and they're awesome as people, and so it was a blast. It's always a blast doing stuff with them, always. And Michael too. Michael's the sweetest guy, man, and super talented. So that was all. I've been blessed to be around a lot of great guys and girls. So,
Michael's a great guy. I know Michael. So Michael's
yeah, he sure is. He
not only
sure
is he an
is.
incredible musician, but as a person, he's a very nice. I've met him many
Yeah,
times over the years, and he's
yeah,
always been very nice to me and to other people. So, yeah.
yes, yes. Same thing with like I said, we're all friends. We love each other. And
You can tell that as you listen to the record. You can tell that comes through. Some projects you
I'm just
can't.
gonna move here because, sorry, excuse me, my battery. I'm in charge of things, so that's why I'm walking. Keep talking.
No, it's good. It comes across in the record. You can feel it. That's
Thank
good.
you, thank you, thank you. That's great.
She's-
That's
Regina,
what you want, That's what we want.
there
So
she is.
yeah, you're working, but people.
And one last question what is it like being a parent? You raised two children basically by yourself, and they've grown up with you throughout this music, your
Did
music
I
career. So what is
lose?
that? What has that been like? It must have been some real inspiration for you as far as the blues goes, with raising two children on your own, trying to make a living as a musician. It couldn't have been easy. So it must have been some inspiration there for you do actually have the blues. I can't imagine what it was like to go through that.
Hey, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, sorry, I don't know what I did. Say it again. I missed.
No, I was just one of my last questions was, you raised two children basically by yourself, and they grew
Yep.
up with you in the music business. I was just wondering how that is being a parent, and what kind of inspiration they gave you as far as the blues goes, because it couldn't have been easy to.
Oh, yeah,
I
that's
can't imagine, what that was like. So
that was the inspiration. I mean, obviously, I'm not coming from the African American. They are, but it's yeah, it was hard. It's hard. Life is hard for everybody. I think I have a song on my other album. It's called "A Little Rain Must Fall," and it's the hook is "Into everybody's life, a little rain must fall." So yeah, I mean, life beat me up a little bit, and I've had some uh, things go on that weren't pleasant, and some hard times, and but I feel like I made it through. I raised, my kids are doing, thank God, my kids are doing great. They're both have grown up. They're beautiful people, and they're doing their thing. My big one is he's at MIT on a scholarship for his master's. My little one and my daughter is an amazing musician. We talk about, she's like, they both are. So, and they're good, and my dog, right? They're really good. It's the mailman, he
my
can't
kitchen's sitting next to me. He's looking at the dog. Yeah.
No, the mailman comes. It's the same guy for the last 10 years. Man, it's just like he can't deal. But yeah, so life was a little tough.
So is there anything else you want to say about Truth Hurts and about the show coming up in the Lizzie Rose Music Room on the 18th of November. Is there anything you want to say to everybody out there?
I just want to say that like I said, I think the album's great. We're gonna do a lot of songs from that album. We're gonna do a couple from the other one, a couple of choice covers, and you know, I've tried and let it all out and put it all out there on the stage, and everybody's gonna have a really good time, I promise. And I would love to see people come out to Lizzie Rose. I would love to see people come out to the New Jersey, North Jersey Blues Society gig that we're very excited about doing, and just support the live music, and we'll support you back. And I'm telling you, we'll have a wonderful, wonderful evening. So I hope people do make it out, and I do appreciate that. I appreciate my fans. I appreciate people listening to the record. Appreciate you guys once again, you know, allowing me to come and entertain you. So I hope to see everybody.
No, thank you. Once again, Regina Bonelli is going to be at Lizzie Rose Music Room in Tuckerton, New Jersey on November 18th. And she'll also be at the North Jersey Blues Society Holiday Party on December 4th. That will be held in Morristown, New Jersey. And the new album is called Truth Hurts, and it's fantastic. Everybody should go out and get it. Enjoy it and have a really good time listening to it, because it's a wonderful piece of work, and you should be very proud of that.
Thank you so
Regina,
much.
thanks for your time. No, it's great to talk to you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Regina.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you
Thank
soon.
you both.
Thank you.
Okay,
See you soon.
bye.
No, thank you. Bye.